Hey, what's up, everybody? Another day in the books. Cool day, got to ride. Always got to appreciate days when you get to ride. Around here, they are more few and far between than I think many would like. It's actually really warm out. Today we're going to talk about knowing. And is there really a high value in knowing? And what do you really know anyway? Well, for one thing, I know I wasn't really in the gear I should have been. It's curious. People always want to know things. Do you really need to know things? Is it necessary? Does it help you? I don't know. I think the one interesting thing is knowing is in certain ways the enemy of imagination, right? Because if you know the answer or you know the way, you tend to do things that way if the goal is to have the outcome. So in that way, if you know how to produce a result that you're trying to get, it's most likely that you're going to take that action. If you didn't know, you'd have to figure it out. So what happens there? You have to get creative. So I say the enemy of imagination, at least in my example, could be knowing. And I kind of talk about outcomes, and we always want to know where we're going, or at least I know a lot of people that want to know where they're going and what's happening and what's coming next, and people want to be certain. And is that a good thing? I don't know. I might have told you yes once upon a time. I can tell you where I am today. You don't really need to know. It's by and large a game that you play with yourself, wanting to know. And isn't it that not knowing that can be fun? If you knew how everything was always going to turn out exactly, you'd never have anticipation. You'd never have curiosity. And we would say those things, we like those things. Except if you just knew, you wouldn't wonder. You wouldn't have to be curious. You wouldn't have to think of anything new because you just know. Would that really be fun? And why do we really make a big deal about knowing? I don't know. And I don't really need to know either. It's a fun mental exercise. For me, that's about it at this point. I think needing to know can be consuming. There's been times in my life where I have said, I need to know. Did I really need to know? The answer, looking back, again, hindsight 2020, I didn't need to know. There's actually one specific example that comes to mind where I needed to know what was going on because I just had to know. In my pursuit, in my quest for that knowledge, I acknowledge I did a decent amount of harm. And we're going to take a slight detour here, so I'm going to pick back up after I get out of here. So knowing, what's my take? There are times that knowing has its advantages. There's no doubt there. But I've said in other videos, doesn't really eliminate uncertainty. And in a lot of cases, it can take away the fun. And not knowing when you want to know, I guarantee you, it causes you a lot of aggravation and stress. And if I say you don't need to know, and you disagree with me, ultimately, that bothers you more than it actually bothers me. So think about that one. And ultimately, I know I can't remember who said it, but what do we really know anyway, right? I think, well, it's not I think, as you start to quote-unquote know more, starts to be more questions that you don't have answers to. So the irony in that way is the more you know, the less you do. Enough about knowing.